Hey everyone, welcome back to another video review. I decided since my Noah review wasn't an absolute speed bump, I am going to do another video review this week for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This is the first proper follow-up to Captain America: The First Avenger, where we see Steve Rogers become a super soldier and then end up getting frozen in ice and reawakened in modern times. His story is kind of lightly revisited in the Avengers, although nothing really happened to Captain other than him stepping up to lead the Avengers. But with The Winter Soldier, we get to see the character of Captain America and Steve Rogers really breathe. But I'll get back to that in just a second. The Winter Soldier is directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, brothers who worked on several different projects together, although it's hard to find any action work in their resume. In fact, I'd argue that it's mostly impossible. The only feature-length film of note that they have directed is called You, Me, and Dupree. But they have also directed 10 episodes of Arrested Development and 21 episodes of Community. But still, that doesn't really lend them to be action directors. And you know what? I don't think my mind will ever really fully wrap around how Kevin Feige decided to make the leap of faith and hire the Russo brothers for The Winter Soldier. But you know what? I am glad he did. So yeah, this movie is definitely not a comedy, although it does have its comedic moments. It is a Marvel movie after all. It's more of a politically charged thriller, and while you've probably already read that somewhere or heard it before in regards to this movie, take it from me as well that this is different from anything you've ever seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe before. As quickly as I can, I'm going to run through the list of characters in this film and how they play into it. First off, there's Maria Hill, played by Cobie Smulders, and she is returning to the character that she played in The Avengers. It's obviously nice seeing her getting a little bit more screen time and getting a little bit more to do, but for the most part, she's just another background player. Hopefully just waiting in the wings to get a little bit more to do in the next movie, and then a little bit more to do in the next movie. Nick Fury returns, obviously played by Samuel L. Jackson, and he gets his biggest role yet in this movie. And it's not just a talk-heavy role like in Iron Man 2, he's actually doing something this time. And it's pretty badass. Way more badass than just firing a rocket launcher. I won't spoil anything for you, I'm just gonna say that it's a really, really, really cool car chase sequence. But in the same capacity, I've always worried that Nick Fury would just turn into this badass character and not have any depth to him. Fortunately, that's not the case, as there's a really good conversation scene with Cap and Nick in an elevator where he sort of explains a little bit of his background to Steve. He's very revealing in this moment, even going as far as talking about his grandfather. Again, I won't talk about it too much, because if you go just experience the scene in the moment, I really enjoyed it. And amongst all of these returning characters, there are some new characters, including Robert Redford playing Alexander Pierce, who is the head of the Worldwide Security Council, and Anthony Mackie playing Sam Wilson, otherwise known as the Falcon. When I first heard about the Falcon being included in this movie, I just thought, oh man, they're just gonna kind of shove him in there and have him do some cool things like they did with Hawkeye in the first Thor movie. But I was pleased to find out that he does have a much larger role and actually does something. After all, in the newer comics, he is the Captain's best friend, basically. Continuing on with the roll call of returning characters, there's also Natasha Romanoff, otherwise known as the Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson. Natasha gets probably the second largest amount of screen time next to the Captain. She and Steve kind of have a little bit more of a sibling bond, you know, a good bit of rivalry, but also just playful. She trying to hook him up, she trying to get him laid. It's very interesting to see how their chemistry works on screen, because it's there, it's palpable, and you know what? I want to see more movies with them together. And now for The Winter Soldier, the main villain of the movie. Now I am going to get a little spoilery right now, but at the same time it's stuff that you should already know. But just in case, you have been warned. I'm a little torn on Sebastian Stan's portrayal of this character. You know, he was obviously in the first Avenger, and he played his part very well. But I shouldn't be complaining because, you know, there's this whole thing, you know, of replacing actors for the same roles in sequels. And this is one of the rare cases where they actually insisted on keeping the same actor. And I'm wondering if when they were casting Bucky for the first Avenger, if they thought, well, eventually he's going to become the Winter Soldier, that's the route we're going to take with it. Is this guy really right for the role? And I don't want to say that he's outright wrong for it. It's just a little bit of a miss. Just a little bit. A lot of what you see of the Winter Soldier at first is very menacing and evil. But other than that, we don't get to see a lot of character moments from him until, we figure out who he really is. He's grappling with his former identity, and he's mostly just sad. Upset. And, I wonder, is that really the best thing for that character? But at the same time, I can't offer any other suggestions. I think he plays the part pretty well, and I sympathized with him. So I guess you could say the Winter Soldier is a Winter Soldier. And finally, there's the Captain himself. Steve Rogers, like I said earlier on in the review, gets a lot more room to breathe. We see a lot more character development with him. A lot of that character development takes place in the first half of the film, because once the story and the action start to take over, there's not a lot of room for the Captain to really grow anymore. Although, in those action scenes, we're more invested with the Captain because we're a little bit more in his headspace. He's still trying to wrestle with the notion of, is he a man of the past, or can he fit into this modern world? Most of these characters get in on the action. The Captain most of all, and let me tell you, it never gets old watching him super kick a baddie across the room. Never. There's something just so elegant about the Captain's fighting style. Ducking behind the shield, throwing the shield like a disc. It's all just really, really cool. And you know what? This movie has made Captain America my new favorite superhero amongst these films. Spider-Man's my all-time favorite, but I didn't like his last movie. And having all these characters get in on the action, I think elevates that action to another level. Everyone's doing something different. You've got Maria Hill talking over the intercom, giving information, the Black Widow doing her usual super spy thing, the Falcon's in the sky with the badass wing jetpack, and Captain America gets into a knife fight with the Winter Soldier. And it's one of the best knife fights I've ever seen in a movie. And that's where I start to worry. Does this movie get away from itself with the action? A lot of people argued that the Avengers got away from itself, with all these CGI aliens flying around and all these actors fighting with these green screen creatures. But just like in the Avengers, I think things get a little crazy in the Winter Soldier. In the final battle scene, when they would cut to big gunfights, I was like, wait, who's fighting who right now? And because of that, I really want to revisit the Winter Soldier. Not just to contextualize the action, but also get a better idea of what was going on when the action wasn't happening. There was so much information being traded line for line, and I missed it because my brain would be focused on one thing and then I would miss something else. Every once in a while I think back on the Winter Soldier and something just sticks in my mind. I was like, wait, why did a character do this? Why did this happen in the movie? And I'm like, ugh. It just sort of makes my brain bleed a little bit, and I just sort of think, well, is this the movie I enjoyed the first time through? But still, this is my favorite standalone Marvel film and my second favorite overall film. Still love the Avengers more than anything. I think it's on a completely different level in its own category. But the Winter Soldier impresses because it delivers fantastic characters, a unique tone, and like I said, the best action of any Marvel movie ever. And for that, I'm going to give it a light 8 out of 10. If you want to see my full list of rankings, favorite to least favorite, of Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, I have a Letterboxd list for that, and I will put it in the D-Box. And for all my reviews, you can check out my Letterboxd page. I also talk about movies a little bit on my Tumblr and my Twitter, as well as the Facebook page for the Film Feast. So what did you think about Captain America the Winter Soldier? Use the comment section as a discussion, and I'll be active in that. As well, what did you think about this video review? I'm still going to do car reviews until people tell me we don't like them. Please stop it. Because it's easy for me, and I need to know if you guys like them or not. So hopefully you enjoyed this video review, and go out there and enjoy Joe and Anthony Russo's Captain America the Winter Soldier. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Why? Stop it! Get the fuck off my ass, you seriously though, get the fuck off or I will brake check your dick.